Enemy of the State. It's a 1998 movie directed by Tony Scott. Whenever I think of Tony Scott, I think of movies like Top Gun, Crimson Tide, Days of Thunder. It was also produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, who did Con Air, The Rock, Beverly Hills Cop. Anytime these two get together, think about explosions, car crashes, and car crashes that end up in explosions. So any Enemy of the Estate doesn't really disappoint action junkies. There are a lot of references to another privacy movie that was directed by Francis Ford Coppola. It was a 1974 movie called The Conversation that also had Gene Hackman in it. So I'd really recommend watching that movie before watching Enemy of the State because you're going to pick up on some references, including recording a couple walking around a circle with numerous high-tech microphones. Gene Hackman's office in Enemy of the State, they called it the jar, but it really references back to a similar office that he had in The Conversation. Interestingly enough, we find out more information about the NSA assistant, Thomas Reynolds, who's played on by a kind of a pasty-faced John Voight, who looks something like former Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara. He's an assistant at the NSA, calling the shots of his training exercise. The spooky coincidence, his birthday is listed as 9/11, 1940. So there are really two parallel privacy storylines that are going on, and they're going to intersect at the end of the movie. The first one deals with Will Smith, who plays a labor lawyer, Robert Dean. He's working in a DC law firm, and one of his clients is a labor union trying to get a fair and free vote that doesn't involve the mob. That's mob is represented by Paulie Pintero, who's played by Tom Sizemore, who's physically threatening union members to vote his way. Dean wants some leverage on Pintero, so he hires his ex-girlfriend, who he also had an affair with a couple years while he was married. That girlfriend's Rachel Banks, played by Lisa Bonet. They want to get some damaging information against Pintero. So Banks hires ex-NSA security expert Brill, who's played by Gene Hackman, who secretly makes a tape of Pintero violating his parole, and Dean shows it to Pintero. How the tape was made is the first privacy question in the movie. Pintero gives Dean 1 week to produce all the copies of the tape, or he'll kill him and his family. The main privacy theme deals with the murder of Congressman Phil Hammersley, who's played by Jason Robards, who's blocking Reynolds' surveillance bill. Reynolds and Hammersley meet at a quiet lake, but when Hammersley refuses to stop blocking the bill, Reynolds has him killed, making it look like a heart attack. This is all unknowingly captured by a videographer, Daniel Zavitz, played by Jason Lee, who views the video to discover the murder cover-up. After an NSA chase, Zavitz passes the tape to Dean without his knowledge. So Reynolds, the John Voight character, impediments an NSA team to do a training exercise and uses every surveillance trick and device to bug Dean's life and to find Zavitz's tape. They even kill Rachel Banks to discredit Dean in case he tries to go public with the tape. As mentioned before, there's a lot of explosions and car crashes, with the NSA trying to capture Dean and Brill. They escape and turn the tables by bugging Reynolds and Congressman Alberts, who was the main sponsor of this surveillance bill. And that bill looked a lot like the Patriot Act, which came in after 9/11. It's reminiscent of Benjamin Franklin's quote in 1775: "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." So the two stories converge at the end of the movie when Dean and Brill are captured by Reynolds' NSA team, and they bring them to Pintero's social club. Reynolds and Pintero confusedly both want the tape, but they're talking about two different tapes without knowing it. A gunfight ensues. Everybody except NSA tech Jack Black and Dean are killed or injured. The movie concludes with Dean's life getting somewhat back to normal with his family, and his wife, played by Regina King, yelling at the TV, "Who's going to monitor the monitor of the monitors?" Finally, Brill flexes his privacy muscles by bugging Dean's TV, reminding us all we're not alone.